Hello. So, do you think that walking 30 minutes a day, like regularly, is actually enough? Like, there's this notion once we start tapping into anything for the fitness, anything for the body, that more is better. So, when I talk about on this channel quite often about going for 30 minutes a day is enough to start, the habit of consistency. And maybe it'll trickle into more, but is it really enough to start? And I was put to this test. I just got back home from Italy. And 1 month before we left, so it was about, I don't know, 6 weeks ago now, I had made this video. I can't show it to you because I'm here live, right? So I made the video about testing out the running apps, if you remember. And what happened is I myself, I question, is walking like really enough? And when I say enough, for me, I want to know, is it enough to continue to build my fitness? Is it enough to continue to keep my weight at a maintenance level where I like it to be, or perhaps shed a few pounds? Um, is it enough to keep me going so that when I'm 70, I'm 52 now. So when I'm 70 or 80, I'm still going to be able to be as mobile as I want to be. And so all of these questions are always arrive like, is it enough? The question comes back is like, okay, well, what is enough for you? Like, what is the goal that you're looking for? So in my world and on this channel, I love to come from the space of loving our bodies between the ups and downs and through the decades. And what works before, like, in different types of decades, like in your 20s and the 30s and the 40s, when getting on a fitness routine, a lot of times, there's this regimen that has to happen. And if you're not doing all the things, then you're doing it wrong. So I too feel that way sometimes. I mean, of course, I was a fitness leader for a long time, I was a weight training coach. I know that the overall health of the body, it's an entire ecosystem. And there's a lot of things that do need to be in place in order to have an optimal body. But to what end, right? And how do you start? Because if you're not moving daily, you might be wondering, well, why bother? Why bother? Because as soon as I start, somebody's going to start telling me that I'm doing it wrong, or assuming that I'm doing this because I want to lose weight and start giving me, and start nudging me on my food and telling me that I got to do this and I got to do that and I got to do this. And I'm saying just strip it all away, right? And just try walking. So I'm gonna share with you a little bit of a story that just happened to me. Oh, if we haven't met before, my name is Karen, and thank you for joining me. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thank you for continuing to support this channel. I have my notes with me so that I don't go too far off the wall. And I decided to go live today because, well, why not? Let's just talk about this live, and you get a little bit of the unedited. So I might like lose my train of thought and then come back like I just did there. But we're gonna get to the point. I want to share with you what happened about 8 weeks ago. So I already mentioned I was testing some running apps because I felt as though, okay, I would really like to shake things up, push my fitness a little bit. So I'm going to start the Couch to 5K apps, right? Which requires not a whole lot of running. I got new shoes. I'm ready for this action, making sure that I'm well rested and ready to go. And I start training and testing these apps. And if you've ever done a Couch to 5K running app, you know that there's not very much running when you're beginning. Like, I think a total of 8 minutes in a 30-minute session, the rest is walking. And so the goal was to be able to run a 5K. I used to run marathons, but in all actuality, I wasn't walking a 5K yet. Like, let's just keep that in mind. Within the first week or two, I started feeling something in my foot. And it was, you know, sore in the morning, kind of like a plantar fasciitis sore, but it was actually attached to my Achilles. Now, every time I start running a new program, every time I have in the past, my calves are always tight. So I wasn't surprised. So I kept on going. And then I started to get nervous about the fact that I'm going to Italy and I don't want to be in pain on my feet because I know I'm going to be walking a lot. So I started to get some anxiety about that. So I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna back off the running for now. Just stay with walking. You know, sometimes I have to take my own advice, right? Just stay with your walking plan and use the walking plan that you created, which means there's variations of walking. So I started, just really incorporating that. And then I started to do some strength training, some easy strength training with like PIO and yoga, and just kind of mingling that in. And then I kind of tweaked a little bit my shoulder. And I was like, that's really weird. I don't know what I did. I used to teach PIO. I used to, do this in class all the time. And I went to bed one night and I woke up the next morning and I couldn't move. Like, literally could not move. Zero range of motion, complete rotator cuff thing going on. And then I was like really freaked out. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be in Italy in less than a month. My shoulders like sore and my foot is sore. And I don't want to be sore for this experience. So I decided all I'm going to do is walk. That's it. No strength training. I'm just going to go for my 30 to 40-minute walk once a day. And that's all I'm going to do. I need to let my body heal. So, little by little, the pains went away. And I arrive in Italy thinking, I made it. I'm good here. And the first week we were in Bologna. My husband was speaking at a conference there, so he was attending conference, and I would go for a daily walk, just like I did at home, except without the dog, of course, and in Italian streets, and I felt very good about that. And day 6, when we were in Bologna, it was the last day that we were there. And I put together this itinerary, like, because we were set to go to Rome afterwards. I put together this itinerary of everything that we were going to see in Bologna before we left. Well, I ended up walking 36,000 steps that day. And all I had trained for was 30 minutes a day. Now, the beauty of it was, did I have a couple blisters? Yeah. I mean, that happened. But it wasn't too bad. But my body felt great. My body knew what to do because I had practiced every single day. So it already knew how to be on its feet. And even though the practice was for 30 to 40 minutes, right? In the 30 minutes, and it jumped up from like 30 minutes to probably about 5 hours of walking that day. I mean, we did have breaks. We sat down and we had lunch, and then we sat down and we had gelato, and we had all the things, right? But yeah, it was a great day. And so I had worried that possibly abandoning, my other structured workouts, abandoning this tougher regimen I always put on myself, abandoning all of the extras would also make me gain weight. I came back from Italy leaner, and I did not work out once. All I did was walk. All I did was walk. Now, as the days went on, like we went to Rome and we went to Sicily, and our, our actual steps ranged around 20 to 25,000. And apart from a couple of blisters that, went away, I had no other pain, no shoulder pain, no foot pain, nothing. It was just, I could just enjoy myself. Now, I had a lot of gelato and no weight gain. So, this fear that I had of stepping outside of my comfort zone and being like thinking that, if I stop strength training, if I stop doing flexibility, if I stop, rigorously walking and making sure I'm counting all my calories and my steps, that everything is going to fall apart. And guess what? It did not happen that way. And I think there's this notion that if we're going to do anything for joy, anything for movement, and it doesn't have this like tangible thing that, I'm going to lose weight or I'm doing it wrong if I don't have my macros right. And like we're muddying it all up with this, with the tactics and the fear that it's not worth it. It's not worth it to go for 10 minutes, right? If that's all I have, because it's just 10 minutes. But I challenge you, if you start with those 10 minutes, the rest of your day is going to look differently. Like, let's talk about, you know, things that happen when you walk. And I know you know this because you're on this channel watching this, right? Things that happen when we walk is more than just the body. And thinking about like what's happening in the next decade and the next decade, it's it's more than just physical weight loss. It's mobility. It's practicing today what I still want to be able to do 20, 30, 40 years from now. Just like I practiced every day for 30 to 40 minutes, and I was able to do way more than I thought my body was capable of. Now, let's bust the myth about needing intense workouts. I think they have a time and a place. And what's really interesting about my trip to Italy, I'm going to go on a little bit of a side note, is I've been turning a little bit more inward this year. I think it just kind of naturally happens as we get older and get to the point where it's like, I'm over 50. My goal is no longer to be on the cover of a magazine. It never was. I just wanted to look like the girls on the cover of a magazine, and it never really happened for more than a week. And that's kind of my reality, but I would put my measuring stick on the fact that, if my body was small and lean, then I was successful in my health and fitness, right? And a lot of times that meant missing barbecues, missing social events, missing, having anxiety when I am sitting in a restaurant wondering what I'm going to order. And, you know, uh, there's just this kind of this freedom that I'm bringing back from Italy with me, as well as I became aware of my human design. And if you don't know what your human design is or what that's all about, just let me know in the comments below this video if you want me to go a little bit more in depth in it. But basically, it's kind of like this it's this graph that's pulled up from 5 different systems, including your chakras, including astrology. And it kind of pinpoints kind of like a blueprint to who you are as a human. And since I've gone into like Reiki healing, I'm very aware of energies and how energies help us, and how when we tap into positive and manifesting things, we can really improve our health with our, our mind as well. And for years and years, walking was a tool of meditation for me, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I look back in hindsight. But I am a human design projector, and a projector doesn't have that sustained amount of energy, which means I see a comment here. I'm going to say hi in just a second. Just finish this thought, which means that strenuous, long workouts are not my best choice. And I sit there and I think about, oh my gosh, how true is that? Like, I've ran 2 marathons in my life. Both times I ran the marathon during the training, I gained like 20 or 30 pounds from stress, not from food. Just like the cortisol buildup and the stress. And I had to spend a year afterwards regulating my nervous system again. So I'm like, wow, what else can I learn from this human design stuff? So I started really diving deep into human design and how it interacts and interlaces with how you eat and how you move in the health and fitness world, and what we're fed that is like right for us, and what we're fed that we should like maybe sit back and think, well, do I really enjoy that? Because if I don't enjoy that, all I'm doing is torturing myself. And if I'm torturing myself, how is anything going to work? Because you're feeding your body with that negative, horrible energy that I hate this, punishment, right? It should not feel like punishment or a battle. Let's get rid of these words that we're battling with menopause, that we're battling with weight loss, that we're battling with the bulge. It's your freaking body. It's not battling with you. It loves you no matter what. It's keeping you freaking alive. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox for that. I see someone here is saying, I love walking. It helps not just my physical health, but mental health too. Absolutely. I just kind of got on a soapbox there. And because I get very passionate about it, because I spent quite a long time just ignoring these signs from myself, and a lot of internal struggle that I was never enough. I wasn't doing enough. That if I stood in the mirror and didn't like what I see, that was going to dictate the rest of my day. And I don't know what it is about 50s. I don't know. You get to a point where it's like, okay, my goal has changed. Now I want to be mobile because I want to be able to sit on the floor with my grandkids and get back up. So I better practice that. I want to be able to go for a walk and a hike up a mountain when I'm asked or called. So I better practice that. So doing a 30-minute daily walk is basically just practicing for life. So what would happen if we stopped the battle and just said, I'm practicing for life? It's rehearsal. So that when I'm asked to go to Italy and spend 3 weeks on my feet roaming around, I can actually do it. I can actually do it. Even though I was injured before, even though I'm over 50, even though I haven't been at my optimal fitness of what I know that my, history as, it's another thing we need to ditch. I know we say we're only in competition with ourselves, right? And that's a great thing to have. Don't get me wrong. That works for a lot of people for a lot of times. You want to be able to move the needle, right? And you want to be able to know where you are, and that tomorrow maybe you're just that little bit better. It's very motivating. However, if you're competing with your former self, that's hard. That's hard, man. That's hard. You know, competing with my former self in my 30s is just not the same person I'm showing up as in my 50s. Be where you are today and show up for that person today because that's all you have is today. Consistency wins, my friends. Consistency wins. What do you think about that? Consistency, right? Uh, I'm looking at my notes so I remember to get everything that I wanted to chat with you about today. Feel free to say hi in the comments. If you're watching the replay, let me know. I feel like I think I had a little bit more to say than I thought I did. Consistency wins. Okay, small steps. I don't care if that consistency is 10 minutes and it's every day. And then maybe one day you wake up and you're like, I want to do 30 today because you've done 10 minutes for 30 days and you feel so good, And sometimes if you feel like you just don't want to do it, like you just don't want to do it because you don't have to. Maybe you need to do it, at a point of what my husband does is we both work from home. He goes for a walk to come to work, right? So that it's put somewhere in the day. I see a couple of people. It was lovely listening. Hit the bell. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your comments and I appreciate hanging out with you. And Jamie, I'm really enjoying this. Okay, it's good. It's good. I'm kind of like it's been a while since I've done a video, recorded a video. I had all of these ideas, and I thought that I was going to work on things. I thought I would record when I was in Italy, and I did some recording, but like it would all have to be edited and put together. And I feel that we needed to have this discussion because it's spring, right? This is the time where everything comes in your face. You might try on your clothes from last year and they might be a little snug, and that puts you into panic mode. So you come here on YouTube and you start researching, what should I do? And there's so much conflicting advice. And what I will always say is you just need to move daily. The easiest thing you can do is go for a walk. You don't have to consult anybody to put on your shoes. You don't have to go to a gym. And maybe on your walk, you can start thinking about what are the other things that you want to do and incorporate. But once you start opening that box, it becomes really, really noisy. And then we forget why we're doing it in the first place. Okay, so I think we're probably cool with all of that, right? Consistency wins. Walking clears your mind. It boosts your stress. It boosts your creativity. That's what I love, love, love morning walks. And also you get that quiet in the morning. So anyways, you probably know from this channel too that I do have a walking program, and I also do have like a freebie to just kind of get you started. And you can find that. I'll make sure that it's linked below, but it's KarenWilson.online/walk method. And right now, it's a really great program that I have that I'm making right now that I've already established, which includes a 30-day challenge. There's some nutritional stuff in there from my book, and I found that it was kind of missing a couple of pieces. So right now I'm in the midst of upgrading it, and so if you go to the walk method, the free video that I have for you, and the checklist, and kind of like a little bit of a guide that'll get you through your first 30 days mindfully and creatively and full of joy, that's completely free. But when you do sign up for that, you will be invited to the full program, which right now is a ridiculous price, very, very low, because I am adding more to it. I feel like isn't it nice to be able to have an accomplishment? Like I started out when I was talking on this video about how I wanted to be able to run a 5K again, but I wasn't even walking a 5K again. So right now the program is very, very robust on, picking your calendar and just going for 20 to 30 minutes a day, different variations of walking. There's even guided walks in there to push your different fitness levels and keep everything nice and compact and neat. But I feel like it was missing a piece for, like, real beginners, like, just to start with 10 minutes a day, and the other things that need to be strong in your body, like, when you're asked, maybe you're very sedentary and you're asking your body to do something every day, and it, like, literally hurts to walk for 10 minutes. And so I learned a lot of things, in my recovery with my Achilles and my shoulder, of things that I should be doing to, work the joints and prepare the body. It's not like I was 30. I can't just jump out and expect my body to perform. Now, my body prefers to be activated. So I really want to put the short little bits of activation with the little 10-minute walks. And if you're gonna miss anything, like if you don't have time to go for a walk, you'll have time to do an activation, which is going to prepare your body for the walk. And that's super duper important. And I mean, I learned that in my personal training, like when I was weight training and stuff, but I never thought that that would be me. I think my 30-year-old self never thought that I would be 50 and need this extra care. W- we we're not too old. We just need a little bit of a different angle to our training. And it doesn't mean we need to slow down by any means, but recovery becomes more important. And so instead of doing an intense workout, doing some functional movements that increase mobility is actually better. And it gives you more time for, you know, recovery and good. Because, especially, what else is happening in the 50s is the perimenopause and the menopause. And when your hormones are all over the place, you don't want to add more stress to that. And that's why we get stuck in this hamster wheel of gaining weight, feeling bad, feeling lethargic. It's and doing things and doing all the exercise and still gaining weight, and nothing seems to work. Well, maybe we're working too hard. What if the solution is rest? Of course, nutrition plays a big factor in it, but it doesn't mean diet. Okay, so like I wrote a whole book about that. Okay. Um, I've to study like 10 hours a day. Walking is an escape to me. Yes, it is. It's a huge escape. It's a place that you are just connected with you and your feet, and it's all your own. I remember when back in the day, I was a cosmetician and I worked all day long with people. They would come into the store and, sit them in a chair, do all the makeup, and consult them for their skincare. And at the time, I was a runner. I was a long distance runner. I would run for charities. I never thought I'd be a runner. I mean, like at 13 years old, doing the Canada Fitness Test, if you know what that is, that was torture for me. I was always last, thunderfoot, being, the earthquake was going by, when the class clown is laughing at me and everybody's like, good for you, you can do it. And I'm like, clearly the last person. I was never going to be a runner in my life. But walking did lead to running. And, but anyways, in my running days, people would, that I was doing consultation. Thanks, Sylvia. When I was doing like consultations with people, they would be like, "Oh, I wish I had your motivation to run because I live in a small town, right? So you're running down these roads and people see you and they recognize you and they honk at you and they're like waving and then they come into the store and they're like, I saw you running. And yeah, right. So anyway, at the time, I was like, how do I get people, to have this intrinsic motivation? And really there is no way to force intrinsic motivation on anyone. It just comes from within. And what I really enjoyed about that time was that I always had something to run for. So I would sign up for these events and I would get, the medal and the t-shirt, and it's the only time where the roads are closed for you. You're lining up with thousands of other runners that you don't know, you've never met before, but you know that you're about to push through pain together, right? You're like, and at the end, they hang around metal around your neck. And I just became addicted to that. So then people would ask me, could could I come and run with you? No. No way. No way. I was with people all the time. I was worked in the retail environment where they would come in and I'm doing makeovers, and that running time was just for me. And there's running groups I could join. There's all of these things that I could do with other people. And for some people, I think that's great. That's a way to keep you motivated. But for me, I would I'd kind of get too much into my head, be like, I need to be faster and get injured. Or I don't want to listen to your problems. I want this to be like my time. And so when I'm no longer a runner, so now I take that same concept into my walking. Do I walk with people sometimes now? Yeah, I do. I do like the social aspect sometimes now. And usually where I go, I bump into people every morning. So we sometimes say hi to each other. We all have dogs, and it turns into a little visit. But my life is different now. I work from home. I'm a writer, creative professional, and I don't have people around me all the time. So, um, but still, I think about that, right? I think about that for a second. Karen, what would you do if someone asked you to go for a walk with them or become their accountability walking buddy? I'd say no. No, thank you. Let's go for a walk together, but not every day. Because it's such a sacred time with yourself. I find, and yeah, some people say, well, it's easy for you because you have a dog and you take your dog for a walk. I didn't always have a dog, and between my dogs, yeah, it was hard for me because I felt like when I'd go for a walk, this is kind of embarrassing to say. When I'd go for a walk without my dog, I felt like people are driving by. My dog's name is Tula. Tula. I'll see if I can find a picture of her on my phone here for you. But anyways, like go for if I don't have my dog with me, I feel like people are like driving by and they're thinking that I'm losing weight, like I'm wanting to lose weight, right? And I'm embarrassed. I feel like if I'm out there walking in the neighborhood without a dog, people are judging me for out there exercising. Now, isn't that silly? Like I say that out loud, and I'm like, ugh. But you know what it reminds me of? I'm just looking at my phone, looking for a picture of my dog that's big enough that I can show up. But what it reminds me of is when I first started walking, I didn't want to walk at all. It was just because my son started school, and I had to walk out because I had to commute. And at the time, I was very overweight and the walk was really hard and I was walking uphill, and I felt like everybody could see me and were laughing at me and staring at me. and I was sweating and it was hard. And they'd drive by and be like watching me. They always like watch you when they drive by. And I was ashamed and embarrassed and so I decided to find another route. I didn't quit. I'm proud of myself for not quitting, but I almost didn't really have a choice. So I decided to go all the way around and make this other path where there was less traffic and not a big hill. Um, hey, Katie. I've been look I good to see you. I'm just looking for a picture of my dog. So I went it's so instead of having that 10-minute walk uphill, I had a 30-minute walk on my terms because I'm like, if I'm going to do this every single day, I have to I have to like it. And then it stuck because I'm talking about like 30 years ago, right? I'm talking about 30 years ago. There were no phones, there were no iPods. If I were to bring music with me, it would be like a ghetto blaster that was bigger than my head on my shoulder. So I'm forced to think with my thoughts. Okay, here's a good picture. Here's a good picture of her. There she is. Katie, you are inspiring too. I've been thinking about you. I was going to message you and say, hey, what's up? So that's my dog now. I had another dog before her that was complete opposite. And, if you watched some of my videos, you would have seen some of the stories about that dog. So I'm just about to probably yeah, she is cute, Sylvia. She's a handful. She's a guardian dog, and I think what's really cool about her is she's taught me so much about me and my energy, and, um, so when I'm not calm, she's not calm, and she's got a very loud bark. But, she's she despises walking in the neighborhood. It's kind of yeah. I'm glad you're walking for good headspace. I see you too. I see you too. And sometimes we need that, right? We just need the break to shut everything off and just get into our own headspace. That's why I love walking because you can always get away. You can get away from everything, right? And we all need like that all the time. It's part of mental health, and it keeps you going. So instead of letting everything overwhelm you, you say, okay, this is the non-negotiable. So maybe I can't make YouTube videos. Maybe I'm not going to do this, and maybe I'm not going to do that, but I'm not going to miss my walk because that's future me that's going to thank me for taking care of that part. So we went from dogs to 100%. Yeah, you bet. I can't remember what I was talking about. That's just me. Okay. So to recap, let's just do a little bit of a recap. I'd always wondered, like, especially in the last year, where it just felt like something was out of sync with my body. And, no matter how much strength or how much I was, looking at my food intake and all of that, it just felt like I was still doing too much. But I was afraid to let go of some of it. So my body took that decision away from me, gave me the Achilles injury. Okay, no running for Karen this year. Gave me the shoulder injury. Okay, no more upside down pile flipping. At least not right now, because what it needed was care. What it needed was me to like practice what I preach. And literally, all I have been doing is walking. And all I did was 30 minutes a day, and I was able to easily walk every single day in Italy. 36,000 steps was the biggest day, and then it was about 20,000 for a good 10 days in a row. And I feel great. ate whatever I wanted. It was not like, you can't go to Italy and go on your power walks. People look at you weird. It's like a slow burn over there, right? It's relax. And so I've taken some of that back home with me. I'm working on refurbishing the program, so it's an absolute it's a giveaway right now, pretty much at 11 bucks Canadian. But you have to watch the video first just to make sure that you're in the groove of being able to create your own walking plan. But it has tons of resources. I'm adding a community to it because I'm also getting to the point where on YouTube, I have a choice. I can make a community on my YouTube channel. However, YouTube, what if YouTube and I break up, right? Or what if YouTube just decides that they're not gonna like what if my channel like blows up or something? If the people that want to walk with me daily are in the community that's housed on my website, we'll never lose contact. So social, that's if there's one thing that I know for sure is social media, and this is a form of social media, it can go away in a heartbeat. And if you put everything, all your foundation on there and your community and everything, it's still you could lose it all. So I decided that when I first created the walking program that I didn't want to utilize a community because I didn't want people to be distracted from their walks. I didn't want people to be in there instead of going on a walk because I know time is one of the biggest factors. So it's like, okay, well, I want to make sure that I'm not distracting with that stuff. But I also realize how much fun it is for walkers and other walkers from all other parts of the world to connect with each other and show pictures of where they are and stuff like that. And so I do want to facilitate that. I don't know what that looks like at this point because it's in the beginning stages, so it's really quiet in there. So I need a bunch of people to come and noise it up. Anyways, so now that I'm back, I'm working more on that, on making it bigger, the program bigger, so that there's a place for beginners to start, and then there's the middle, and then there's a place for if you want to work your way up to walking 5K comfortably, so you have a tangible thing. I can't call it Couch to 5K because that's already been taken, but it's kind of like that. And then we'll have like monthly virtual 5K walks, something like that. So that's what I'm putting together for this channel. And so I invite you to go ahead and get the free little piece, the free video, the free download, and then that also connects you to me, and you'll definitely get the invite to the program. Okay, I'm looking at my notes, making sure that it's just got so much fun coming in here and chatting with y'all. Okay. So I want to open it up to you, sharing your walking wins in the chat. Leave a Q&A if you like, and if you have a question or something that you'd like to talk about and like me to cover in the future video, like I talked about human design. If you're curious about how your human design syncs up with your health and wellness, I can do maybe a video series on that. It turns out with my human design being a projector, guess what's the best exercise for me? Guess. Just guess. Walking. And here's the thing. It's so intuitive. Yet, isn't that always the way that we go against our intuition? Yes. we go against our intuition so often. And where human design came in for me is it gave me the validation. Like I started being validated. Like I understand it's a model. Okay. It's a model. So we can't put all of our eggs in one basket of a model. It's like, you know me, I don't like labels, right? But it's one of those things that it's like, okay, well, this is what I thought. This is maybe what my neighbor told me, but I was like, no, I don't think so. It's what my husband told me, but I'm like, I'm not sure. Are you just saying that because you love me? And then out of the blue, this human design graph tells me the same damn thing that I won't listen to because I'm too much in my ego head, wanting to have this thin little body. And, I have a strong freaking body. And I want you to feel that way about yourself too. Just don't worry about the size, the number. Just keep moving because that's what's going to be the gold in your next years. That's the gold. If you don't have mobility, channeling better thoughts while walking. Yeah, I like that. I do have some, Sylvia, I have some guided walks on here where it's kind of like meditative walks. And basically, I put my GoPro on and I go for a walk with my dog, and then I put music and affirmations and stuff with it, and encourage intervals and stuff like that. So I can definitely do more of those if that's what everybody's kind of looking for. You make a video, you make a YouTube channel, and you kind of think you have this idea of what you want to start talking about, and then your community, people just like you that are watching, they give you ideas that you may not thought of. So I really appreciate anything and everything, because this isn't just for me just to sit here and talk to the camera, although it's fun. But it's actually, the goal is to have some sort of light, some sort of action for people to do. So I appreciate y'all being here. Okay, so I'm gonna have to wrap now. I have another call I have to jump on in half an hour, and I do need to prepare for it. But this has been really fun, and yeah, like I could go live as a regular thing. One of the beauty of lives is I don't have to edit this. We can just right? So thanks. Thanks for being a part of this experience. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.